Hello everyone, and welcome to a OneControllerReport.com quick play. I'm Benjamin Yoder, here to talk to you today about 2Xtreme. This is a PlayStation release. It's a sequel to ESPN Xtreme Games, and I'm pretty sure this is like a year or two before like Tony Hawk came out. So you know that basically, you know, Xtreme Sports kind of includes skating, snowboarding, bicycling, I guess, and I think the last one is skateboarding. So they actually kind of shove all four of those in here. So we're gonna go ahead and just jump right into a game. We'll get into the more like I guess long-term game stuff after we go through a race. So in this game there's about 12 courses. They're broken up into 4 different categories: skateboarding, skating, bicycling, and snowboarding, and then each one has like three tracks. So let's the most extreme of extreme sports, let's skateboard. We'll do skateboard 2, the sequel to skateboard. And this game, you know, it's not really, it's more of a racing game than it is like a trick-focused game or anything like that. There are tricks in the game, but it's very much kind of like a forward momentum game. I think it reminds me a lot of like how you know, pole position and outrun play, where it's like you have this constantly moving forward track here, and it kind of curves, and you just like, even if I don't control the character, they kind of still go along with the curve a little bit. I'm doing a great job. So yeah, so it's pretty much just go forward the whole time, and you have some ramps here. You can do some tricks, and we can wipe out on. Don't do a trick if you have no air though. Oh my gosh, this is going great. I am stuck right now. This is a very good video game. I literally cannot move. Test. Well, let's back out and try that again. That's maybe the first time I've ever seen getting stuck in this game completely. So let's back out and try again. But yeah, so basically there's a couple of different movement options here outside of just like, you know, going left and right. You have the option to I think in the book they specifically say it's like pedaling, but it says it varies per type of board you're using. So in the case of like a skateboard, it's like where you know, put your foot down on the road to gain speed by like kicking forward, I guess. I am not knowledgeable on the skating terminology for that. And then, so as you can see, you can also like punch people and stuff. But in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see kind of like a stamina meter. And so like the more I pedal, the lower that meter gets. Or in this case, whatever that term is for actual skateboarding. And then when that meter's lower, it actually affects your ability to stay on the board if somebody hits you. So if you have a lower setup, you're more likely to fall off the board. I'm doing a bad job doing tricks, so let's see if I can do that again. But yeah, it's a pretty fast-paced game. I guess maybe the more apt comparison is Road Rash is what it is. It's like I think that game was originally on 3DO, and basically your motorcycle guys are running around and like smacking each other with chains and stuff. So most of this, you're basically just punching each other. There's no like weapons. You can get like power-ups. So in that case, I got a speed power-up there when I went through that gate. A lot of the color gates are just for additional points. The weird thing about this game, and I think this isn't so much an issue for something like, you know, an Outrun or something like that, is that there's a lot of obstacles on the road, and because of how the course kind of bends around on itself, it can be really difficult to tell if you're going to hit something, because like you as the character kind of move in addition with the course turning, so it's not as easy as just, you know, turn to get out of the way of something, because sometimes you'll be like, oh, I'm actually like not, it doesn't look like you're gonna hit something, but then you just kind of get magnetized into it, because when you're turning, you kind of get, you know, automatically moved. Like in that case, I was basically skating straight, and it's like, okay, we're going to move you left to keep you on the course. Oh, by the way, there's a barrier there. So it's just like sometimes you just end up ramming into something. The powers basically are like invincibility, so you know, no matter how much you pedal, you basically keep a maximum stamina. And then there's a spring that makes it so you can jump higher. There's the spring. So we can use this to jump over these giant pillars if we wanted to. Although it seems like getting air in this game slows you down quite a bit, so I don't know how much you actually want to do that kind of stuff, do jumps. I'm not doing a lot of tricks right now, but I will definitely show you some tricks once I can. And you can also do the thing to like turn sharper, where if you hold back on the D-pad and then also turn, you can kind of... Let's see if we can salvage this. Everyone's pretty much in front of me. If you fall behind in this game, it's really tough to catch back up. At least that's what I found, and you'll spend a lot of time. Ooh, first place, or third place. It looks like we were in first. I don't know if there's actually like a positioning on the screen while you're racing, but yeah. So I would say this game does not feel very good to play. It doesn't feel awful. Like, you can get used to it for sure. But there's not a lot of, I guess, finesse to the controls. It feels like you kind of take whatever the game throws into your face. Africa won. I don't know if that's a great way to describe that or not, but we're going to keep on going. In addition to like just the standard one race at a time, you can also do exhibition mode, a season. Basically, the season just takes you through all 3 tracks with a vehicle type, I guess. And oh god, okay. Oh, I did my trick way too late. But basically, each season will just take you through all 3 tracks with each vehicle, and then, you know, if you win the majority of them, you win the season, essentially. There we go. We did it. Okay. It's really hard. I feel like this is a game that's like, there's so much happening on screen at times. It can be difficult to talk. It's just... It's like, nothing particularly complicated is happening here, but like, it just takes every ounce of your body to just make sure you don't run into things. So, but yeah, so you basically just go through all the courses, and that's like the end of the season. You can create a racer, and the racer will have different stats that you can assign. So the stats can be based on the type of vehicle. So you can manage stats on the individual vehicles. You can say, I want this level of speed, this level of responsiveness, and then you can also like manage general like character stats for a vehicle. So this character is going to be better at snowboarding than other characters, and vice versa. Oh, 150. All right. So there's some customization for the season if you really want to. I don't really know what like the best way to go is in terms of like, you know, if you want to maximize individual things. What I did with my character earlier was basically make all the vehicles except for one like really high stats. And so basically I was like a super crappy snowboarder, but everything else I'm okay at. And I figured that overall would probably work out in my favor, even if like I don't do well for 3 races kind of thing. But I didn't spend a lot of time with it earlier. It's been a while. I did play through the entire season of this game a handful of years back, and you know, this game didn't leave much of an impression on me. The main reason I even have this game in the first place is because a childhood friend of mine accidentally left it with me and then never came back for it. So we played it a bit when I was a kid, but even then I was always kind of like, this game doesn't feel great. or at least I don't particularly remember liking it very much. And as a kid who largely played, you know, like Nintendo systems with Mario Kart and stuff, this felt like a very poor man's racing game to me. It's very, very rare I would ever play this game outside of like if I was just at their house and they only had a PlayStation. So it's like, well, this is the racing game we're going to play. There's a 2-player mode as well. Oh gosh. Okay. Although I have not tried that in many years to say like how it runs or anything like that. I should use the speed. So, but you know, for all intents and purposes, like the vehicle types don't really matter. I was reading in the manual earlier that it was saying like different vehicles have different shapes and stuff for their collision. But you know, at least as far as I can tell, you know, more or less, if you're gonna hit something, you're probably just gonna hit something. So you know, it did say that like pedaling has different effects depending on the type of vehicle. So like, if you're using a bike, I think pedaling is more effective versus like using like a snowboard. There's like a thing where you're like shimmying about the back of your snowboard. And tricks, as far as I can tell, don't really do anything other than just give you points. I will not say I'm good at this video game. I'm very bad at this video game. I imagine if you spent enough time with it, you could eventually get somewhere in terms of a skill level. 10th place. I think that is last place. So, which, you know, as I showed you there, like once you fall behind, you're kind of just off to your own devices of you'll never see anyone ever, and you're just going to keep hitting random obstacles and stuff. It's all good fun. So let's just go ahead and do another event, because there's not really any, like, I could show you the season mode, but it's more or less just the exact same thing. I could definitely show you like a create a character or something. Let me see, where was that menu? I think it's player 1 select. This is a silly menu here. Yeah, so you can like choose how you look, just between some preset things. And then like here you can sit there and adjust your skills. So, you know, there's your general attributes, attributes of the individual vehicles, and then you can also, you know, go down here and also distribute attributes with each vehicle itself. So it's actually pretty nice that there's like enough customization, or a lot of customization there. But the reality is, I feel like at least today, this game doesn't really warrant a lot of playing, maybe. I don't know. Let's go to Japan 3, the ultimate Japan. Like, this is not a terrible game. I think it's just dated is the biggest thing. I think at the time when the original one came out, it was pretty well received. I think there was 3 games in this series. But I think by the time like Tony Hawk had came out, like what Xtreme Sports games should be changed quite a bit. So you didn't really have as much of this kind of stuff anymore. But if you're a fan of like Road Rash, you know, it's been a very, very long time since I played Road Rash, so I really can't say how this holds up in comparison. But if this style of gameplay, like, you know, like, if you want that style of gameplay, this game definitely at least tries to appeal to that. I can't say I find it super enjoyable. And I think, like I said earlier, this game has, like, a lot of obstacles on the course. And at least from my memory of Road Rash, it doesn't have nearly as much just, like, junk on the course. I remember most of Road Rash being about, like, combating other racers. And there's definitely some of that in here, but it's definitely not the focus. Oh boy, 250. But it is nice that like visually these levels do, you know, have a unique look to them, and you know, for the fact, you know, all these vehicles really feel the same to control, but you know, it was nice they went out of their way to you know, make, you know, quite a bit of variety here in terms of just like the visual design of the characters. You know, like in this stage you have, you know, sweatshirts on, things like that. I know this is very, very like low bar of praise maybe, but it's definitely not terrible. You know, if I was stuck in a room with this game and they said this is the only video game you can play for 24 hours, I probably would play this game for a good chunk of that 24 hours. But there are definitely many other ways you can get your sports racing fix these days. Although that being said, I don't really know how many like modern releases there are that feel more like the Outrun, or have I been saying Outrun when I meant to say Road Rash? Like a Road Rash style of games. So sorry if I was saying Outrun earlier in reference to Road Rash being on motorcycles and, oh my gosh, going backwards, being on motorcycles and beating people up. I meant Road Rash. I'm sorry. But like, I don't really know how many Road Rash style games there are these days. I think there was a couple that came out at some point, but I don't think it's a super plentiful genre. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't really pay that much attention to indie games, to be honest with you. And like I said, like, I think there's definitely ways to be better at this game. You know, being more aware of what's coming up ahead. But at least for me, I personally find it a little hard to kind of figure out, you know, how to kind of weave your way into specific areas and make sure you don't hit things. This half pipe is a lie. You can't do anything here. You just kind of stick on the side and that's it. So no tricks. There are these like tunnels down here. Oh my gosh, the deer. Let's see if we can just go. I feel like any kind of a racing focused sports game really needs to give you a good reason to use tricks, because very rarely is it a huge benefit to sit there and risk, you know, wiping out. Examples I can think of are SSX Tricky, where you get like a boost meter, and then I think it's 1080 Avalanche. You get like a shield if you do enough tricks. So like if you fall over, you pretty much just like get right back up if you've done enough tricks. And people also can't knock you over, or at least not as easily. Or actually, you know, what I think it is in 1080 Avalanche is that you can more easily knock people over. So we snowboarded. 7th place, perfect. We did do some tricks that time though, so. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else really, but this is an early PlayStation title. I mean, not super early. I mean, obviously there was ESPN Xtreme Sports. Let me see what year ESPN Xtreme Sports came out, because this is 1996. So it looks like ESPN Xtreme Sports was like late 95, and this was late 96. So it's about a year between the two games. I think we've done everything but rollerblading. I don't know what it is about the rollerblading, but I think it's probably like my visually least exciting of the maps. Maybe it's because it's Las Vegas and that's where I live, and I am not very excited to be in Las Vegas. All right. And I think we can probably, I know quick plays are typically about 30 minutes, but I don't think we need to do too much more after this. I don't really know if I have much more to say about 2Xtreme, but we will skate through Las Vegas here real quick.
Set, go!
Should you revisit this game for any reason? You know, I have a hard time thinking of it. Like I said earlier, you know, if there aren't a lot of Road Rash games out there, I think this game might scratch that itch. But in terms of, you know, oh boy. There we go. That was partially my fault because I wasn't trying to skate forward. Oh boy, oh boy. Let me go, please. Those barriers are probably my least favorite thing in this game because they move. And it's just like, in addition to already having a hard time of lining yourself up to things, it just can be like, oh my gosh. I'm gonna try let me see, there's a more complicated tricks you can do. They're not really that complicated. Tricks are really just press the square button and then circle, or press the square button and then triangle, or press the square button and circle, and then another button. So it's just like a few combinations you can do. I think there's about 4 tricks in total per vehicle. So so it's definitely not super expansive. All right, let's see. Yeah. You know, one game that might seem like a weird recommendation is Excite Truck. Excite Truck does have this like very dang it, forward momentum focus to it, and like a lot of like score-based mechanics in terms of like, you know, you have to get a certain number of stars to complete a level. So I feel like if you like games like this, Excite Truck might be like a nice alternative. It's not quite the same, but it does remind me a little bit of Excite Truck. I'm a big Excite Truck fan though, so maybe I'm stretching. Maybe I just want you to play some Excite Truck. That's maybe what I'm saying. Oh my gosh, please. Oh my gosh. Man, just like ruin your kneecaps. Sliding across the pavement at 70 miles per hour. So I'm gonna try to do trick off there. Oh, nope, I didn't do it. That was my bad. I was debating if I wanted to try to jump over it and then waited too late, and then also did a trick when I was going very slow. Anyways, yeah, I'm definitely not good at this game. I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, this game is bad, therefore I'm doing poorly. It's definitely not. I think it's totally playable. That is silly. I hit that light poles thing. But like I said, it can be difficult to kind of line some stuff up sometimes. So I don't want to sit there and also say like, oh no, this has no problems at all. So, oh boy. All right. I think we're coming at the end here. Woof. Let's see if we can go the whole way to the end without hitting anything. Oh, no tricks. Alright. Oh. Alright, that is permissible. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
Get some air!
Get some air! I'll do like this silly announcer, though. Oh, I did the trick, but because I hit the pole, I don't get the points for it. Oh, jeez. Oh. Just as a heads up, this game uses the D-pad, so there's not like a ton of intricacies in terms of how far you can go. It's all a digital input because at this time, the PlayStation 1 did not have analog sticks. I believe that was a 1997 or 98 feature of the DualShock. I'd have to look into that. It's actually kind of an interesting thought I never had of like what year the DualShock came out. So that's 2Xtreme. Again, not terrible, but not great either. So there's definitely plenty of greater sports games on the PlayStation if you want to. And if you are looking for this kind of game and haven't played a Road Rash before, you know, I could be working with an outdated memory on Road Rash, but I feel like Road Rash was a better playing game. But I literally has probably been about 20 years since I've played both Road Rash and 2Xtreme. So yeah. Thanks for coming. I'm gonna try to do some more quick play streams here in the future. It's probably gonna try, you know, to keep it at one a week. Probably go through a lot of PlayStation 64 and Wii games. A couple of GameCube ones I want to look at as well. So thanks for coming, and I hope you have a great week. Bye.